Okay then, so now we can get started. From here starts the speaking test.
Okay.
This is the speaking mock test of the International English Language Testing System taking place in Ross IELTS Academy. The candidate is Ali, candidate number 0143252. The examiner is Mehrnoush Hafi, examiner number 443533. Good morning, my name is Mehrnoush Hafi. Would you please tell me your full name?
Yes, my name is Ali and my surname is Ross.
What can I call you?
Ali.
Sure.
It's okay. Yes.
Can I see your identification, please?
Yes, of course. Here you are.
Thank you very much. Great. We can now get started with the first part of the exam. In the first part, I will ask you some personal questions. First, I'd like to ask about studying. What was your major in high school?
Actually, my major in high school was maths. I study maths, of course. It's my favorite major.
And what was the most interesting part of your major?
Actually, the same as mentioned you, my favorite major is maths. I really enthusiastic about learning the maths and always want to learning better and better.
What kinds of majors do the people in your country study?
It was vary in lots of people. Some people choose, for example, literature, other choose sport. It's different from one person to other person.
Okay, now let's move on to talk about names. Does your name have a specific meaning in your culture?
Not. It's one of the Iranian prophet. No, it's not have a exact meaning.
And do you like your name?
Yes, of course.
Who named you as a child?
My father, actually. My father wanted this name because he's my ancestor name and give it to me, this name.
Okay, thank you. Now let's move on to talk about tidiness. Are you a tidy person?
No, I'm not the tidy person. I'll always try to be more active person and try to be lots of exercise during the day. No, I'm not the tidiest.
Do you think being clean and tidy is important?
Yes, of course. I think it's very important because you get a lot of energy. If you are be tidy, you are not the energy doing your life habit.
Do you know any untidy person?
Yes, of course. One of my friends is really untidy person because he always really disorganized, and I share a roommate with him about 2 years ago, and always complaining about the untidy he is.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we can move on to the second part of the exam.
Okay.
So in the second part, I'm going to give you a card with a topic, and you should talk about this topic for 2 minutes. Before that, you have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say, and you can make some notes to help you if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes, of course.
Perfect. So here's the cue card, a paper for you to make notes, and a pen. And you should describe a time when your computer broke down. Now, here you go.
Thank you.
With a paper, cue card, and a pen. Now you have 1 minute to think about this topic, and I will let you know once your 1 minute is over. So you can start thinking now. Okay, now your time is over, and you may talk about this topic for 2 minutes, but do not worry if I stop you. So you can start talking now.
About experience, you question about me, my computer breakdown. About 2 years ago, when my little son played with my computer, he accidentally fell down my computer from the table to the floor, and unfortunately the screen looked like smashed, and my computer as a result doesn't work properly. I have a lots of work to do it, so I couldn't do it and manage to do it. So I take it and go to the repair shop and ask somebody to repair that. It cost a lot of money for me, and I pay $100 to repair that. And I really got furious about that, because it's, as I mentioned to you before, I couldn't do my job properly. The computer is very necessary for me, especially during habits and do my work. And that time I hadn't enough money to repair that. I asked my brother to lend me money and repair that, but fortunately I could the repair shop could fix it and give me a discount about repair, and I had it, and then I put it in the safe place, so my little son couldn't destroy it or broken it again. And I know this is the real experience for me, how the stuff is very important for me, and because I do lots of work.
Thank you very much. Now your time is over, and we can move on to part 3. So if you can just hand me the paper and the pen back.
Here you are.
Thank you. And the pen. Great. Okay then, in the second part, we've been talking about a time when your computer broke down. And now I would like to ask you some questions related to this topic.
Okay.
Do you think that computers are perfect now, or do they still need some improvement?
Actually, nowadays it's perfect, but when we spend the time, we realize that we need to better and better. For example, if I want to explain to you, in the previous, we have a software was the older, but we are in newer, and we can find it how better we work with the new software.
And how about the educational needs of the children? Because computers are being used in the educational needs of children these days. So what are the advantages of this in your idea?
It's lots of advantage for children to do it, because it's very important. Nowadays, if somebody know that about don't know anything about the computer, we can say he has lots of any knowledge, and it's necessary for children to do it, because they must be doing lots of their homework and daily routine habits with their computer, and I think it's necessary for children to do it.
So do you think that computers have changed our lives for better?
Yes, of course, it's changed for better, because we use it in lots of, as I mentioned to you before, lots of software. For example, when we wanted to send a letter to somebody in the past, we must take a lots of time, but nowadays we can send the email as easy as ABCD.
So do you think a computer can give you better access to knowledge?
Could you repeat that, your question?
Sure. Do you think a computer can give you a better access to knowledge?
Yes, of course. It's better. We can learn about the computer. For example, when we search something in Google, we can gain lots of idea about that. that knowledge.
So do you think that it can be useful for everyone, or some people can use computers for better purposes?
I think it's useful for everyone. Everyone knows that the computer is have a lots of short way to do the daily routine habits, and somebody knows that about the computers. Maybe you see in my city, maybe stay in the line a queue, and to ask somebody to do that, for example, send email or other thing.
Okay, thank you very much. Now this is the end of the speaking test.
Thank
Now you can just relax and take a breath, and I'll take a few minutes to add up your score, and then I'll give you the feedback, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So now let's get started with the feedback part. As you know, there are 4 criteria in IELTS speaking based on which you will be evaluated. The first one is your fluency and coherence. So let's get started with that one. In your fluency and coherence, Adi, I can say that the good thing in your speaking is that you're confident and you just keep talking. Whatever question I ask you, you give the answer to that, and even if you don't know what to say or what idea to develop, you just say something. This is really good, this confidence. However, you need to avoid your self-repetitions and self-corrections, because you had so many of that. You say something and then you just correct yourself, you go back, you don't finish your sentence, or you repeat the same phrases. For example, I think, actually, or to do that, I want to, you know, you just repeat the same thing. Maybe you can just make longer sentences, finish one sentence and then start the next sentence. This can be very helpful. So as you had so many self-repetitions and self-corrections, you couldn't maintain a good fluency, right? You were just going back to the previous sentence or the previous phrase. Give a wider range to your vocabulary or to your sentences, but we will get there. We will talk about that in the other criteria. Other than that, if you want to get a high score or a good score in your fluency and coherence, you need to use more connectives and discourse markers. For example, you were only using and, so, but, because. You used as a result once, which was good. But the thing is that you should make sure to use these connectives correctly, because once you use the word so, but you should have used so that. That's one of the problems. You should have said so that he couldn't destroy the computer again. But you said so. When you say so, you're talking about the result. So that was not correct. Try to give a range. For example, instead of and, you can use in addition to that, besides. Instead of but, you can use however. Instead of because, you can use as or since. And the last thing to mention regarding your fluency and coherence is that just make sure to understand the question and give a related answer to that. For example, in the first part I asked you about tidiness, yeah, and I said, are you a tidy person?
Yes.
Tidy means clean.
Yes.
But you talked about being active.
Yes.
So this was, I suppose you did not understand the definition of the word.
I misunderstood that.
Yes, but for the third question, you
Yes,
understood and you talked
yes.
about your untidy person,
Yes,
friend.
yes.
So this is about your fluency and coherence, and because of all of that, you got a 5 in your fluency. To get a higher score, for example, to get a 6, you should give a range to your connectives, reduce your self-repetition and self-correction. And the way to do that is to, first of all, you need to work on your grammar, because your grammar is your weak point here and is negatively impacting your fluency as well. So first work on your grammar, and the second solution to avoid these self-repetitions and self-corrections is to fake your answers sometimes, because maybe sometimes you don't have information about a question or you don't have good vocabulary to use in that topic. So try to just fake it. You can lie. For example, I ask you to describe your room. You don't know how to describe your room, but if you know how to describe your sister's room or your brother's room, then describe their room as yours.
Yes.
This is faking your answer, but the first thing is to work a bit on your grammar. So this is about your fluency and coherence. Now to move on and talk about your lexical resource, your vocabulary, which is the next criteria. In your vocabulary, the thing is that, as I mentioned before, you are able to give the answer to all the questions, but you are using some words that you are not 100% sure about. For example, the word enthusiastic, literature. These are good words and you can use them in different topics, but you mispronounce them or you were not sure if this is the word I should use here or not. So the first thing to do is to make sure that whatever you're using is 100% correct. Being error-free is a lot more important than using some things that, like some structures or some collocations that may not be correct or you're not sure about. So first, make sure that you are using it correctly. And other than that, one of the main problems that you had is that you are not paraphrasing at all. Paraphrasing is to use direct synonyms. In IELTS speaking, you are expected to use synonyms in your sentences. When the examiner asks you a question, don't repeat what you hear in the question. For example, I said, what are the advantages of computers for students in the third part? And you just said the advantages of computers are. So try to use some synonyms like the benefits, the pros, or the disadvantages. You can say the drawbacks are. I say, do you like your apartment? You say, oh, I do love my house. So paraphrase the examiner's question, not each and every word, but the words that you can. And paraphrase your own sentences, your own vocabulary, the words that you are using, because as I said, you had self-repetition. You kept repeating the same phrases, the same words. Maybe by using more synonyms, you can just give a wider range to your vocabulary. But first, again, make sure if whatever you're using is correct, and then use it. And the second step would be to learn more words and collocations to give a wider range to your words and vocabulary. So this is about your lexical resource, and because of that you got a 4. The main reason is your paraphrasing, because you were not even trying to paraphrase. You should do that. It's important. And now to move on to the next criteria, your grammatical range and accuracy. Your grammar is something that this is your biggest weak point in your speaking, because even though you know how to make sentences, but in almost all your sentences, there are errors and mistakes. I can mention some. For example, in the first part, instead of I studied, you said I study. Or be lots of exercise, you don't say be, do. Or you question about me, no, you asked me, or you asked me a question about. I hadn't enough money, I didn't have enough money. Give a discount about to give a discount on. It's a lot of advantage. It has a lot of advantages. So your mistakes were in singular and plural, tenses, third person s, and you did not complete your sentences. Make sure some words were missing. Make sure to completely make a sentence. So you need to work on your grammar, because this is one of your biggest problems. And it is also negatively impacting your fluency and coherence and your pronunciation, because you don't know how to make some sentences and you use some words, like in your lexical resource, you use some words with the wrong pronunciation, or you don't know how to completely use it or pronounce it. You were using, for example, conditional sentences or relative clauses, but again, because they contained errors, you cannot get a high score in that. Generally, you got a 5 in your grammatical range and accuracy, but to get a higher score, for example, a 6, first of all, you need to make some correct sentences and then give a range to that. For example, more complex structures like relative clauses, subordinate clauses, conditional sentences. There is a video about that on our YouTube channel that you can watch.
Yes.
And finally, in your pronunciation, in this criteria, the good thing is that you didn't have so many pauses. You were not like saying all the time. This is very good. But and your pace was fine. You were not speaking very fast or very slowly. Your speaking was clear to understand, but it was so flat. Because pronunciation is not only about how you pronounce the words, but also your intonation, your rhythm. You should know how to put the stress on some words, the word stress, the sentence stress, your intonation. They also matter in your pronunciation. And you had so many mispronunciations. As I said, you were not sure about some words, but you were using them. The word, for example, enthusiastic, literature, smashed, a lot of, furious, nowadays, properly, computer, discount, something, and so many other words. I do recommend you to keep listening to podcasts, anything in English. Listen to them, pause, and repeat after some sentences. And if you're not sure about the pronunciation of a word, just try to check it online. Like now you're talking and you're not sure if this is, for example, event or event, the word stress. Just check it online the moment you doubt. Okay? It can really help you, and write it down.
Do you want to know what band score you'll get in the IELTS speaking test? Perhaps you want to improve your performance and prepare yourself for the real test. Then why not book an online mock test with us that will last for 25 minutes. 12 minutes of the test itself and 13 minutes of comprehensive feedback, plus we'll give you useful tips on how to make your performance better. Remember, all our examiners are especially trained by British Council instructors, so we know how to help you. Join us.